Hey there, lads and lasses. Off to a little bit of a janky start today. Starting a little bit later than usual. It is a Wednesday afternoon. It is just past 1 o'clock. Usually I start this stream at noontime. I needed a little extra time today. So we're going to start at 1. So that would mean that today is a Generation stream, and we have not done a Baby Zombie Rush stream or a Generation stream in quite some time because I've been away traveling. But I'm back now, and now time to resume our fun stuff on the Generation server. I'd like to welcome in both Cyclopsalops and Ape with a Thumb. You guys, how the heck are you doing? So good to see you guys. So today we've got a little bit of some Baby Zombie Rush stuff that we're going to do. And we have to pick up where we left off last, which was weeks and weeks ago. And so my old brain has to try to remember what we were doing. I've been playing a lot of Valorant, getting real good. Ooh. First-person shooters. First-person shooters. Been a long time since I've done the first-person shooters. God, Valorant is so popular. A lot of my fellow streamers, fellow buffoons, stream Valorant. Okay, so when last we were toiling away in the creative test world, we were working on the countdown timer. So let's get a little bit of a recap. These are the final features of the Baby Zombie Rush Not So Mini minigame. And so what we wanted to have happen was at some point we wanted the player to reach this central area, which may not be located in the center of the exact center of each map. I want to shift it around a little bit so the players never know exactly what to expect. But they enter into here, this barrier drops, they enter into here, the barrier comes back up so they can't get back out. And as they're going about here, dodging the baby zombies, they will burn in the sunlight. So if they can dodge the baby zombies long enough to survive, they can then look around in the central area. I keep saying central area, let's just call it the open area. And they can see some options. Here they'll press a button and some potions will come out. These potions are beneficial right now, but they may or may not be for different players. Well, we'll see. And then hopefully they'll notice that all of these lamps will be lit and they will be shutting down one by one for a total of about 2 minutes. Very, very, very close to 2 minutes. So probably about 10 or 12 seconds for each one. So this will be counting down. When it reaches the end, I want something to happen. Now, initially, what I was thinking was having some command blocks drop baby zombies from the sky into different parts of the maze, various parts of the maze, right, to replenish the baby zombie rush, the baby zombie supply, the horde. But that may change for each contestant. I don't want each contestant to expect exactly what's going to happen, so that'll vary. But it'll work pretty much the same way. There'll be a countdown, and then something will happen. Usually something challenging. Hey, Draken's in. Welcome, Drak. Good to see you, our moderator, co-pilot, and friend Draken. Let me see. Ape is trying to get the song, the playlist. Remember, Ape, that I have posted the link to this playlist in the Kachi Time channel on our Discord server. So the entire playlist is in here. Right now, it's Joseph Bel Habib. And I believe the name of this song is Play Me Like That Video Game. And it's you'll be able to find that on Epidemic Sound. So we get all our tunes off of Epidemic Sound right now. You're going to make a warp button that puts the player at a random place in the map to confuse the heck out of them. That would be a pretty cool thing to do. Suggestions-wise, That might be an option. You could have when the countdown reaches the end. This could open. The idea I originally have would be now that would stay shut. This would open. These pressure plates would be out of here, of course. It would automatically open. The player would proceed out, and then the barrier would come back up so the player can't get back into the open area. And then they would proceed through the maze, and you have a fresh batch of baby zombies, but they are distributed throughout the maze. But at some point, having you come up in a random part of the maze, that's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea. I might wind up using that. You could have the countdown timer count down, and at the end, it just teleports you. That could happen. You can't see the game. I'm very tired today. There we go. Sure. Psych, if you go into the channel Baby Zombie Rush Ideas, I think is what I have it called, on our Discord server. You and everyone else is welcome to submit their ideas in there. Again, I can't promise that I will use all of them, but I will read and consider every single one of them. Yes. In fact, I am looking at my other monitor right now so I can open up Discord. I want to make sure that I have that 100%. Let me take a look in there. Yeah, the name of the channel in our Discord is Baby Zombie Rush Brainstorming. Yeah, and I can see you entering stuff in there right now. Yeah, so if you have any suggestions, and not just Cyclopsalops, but any of you have any suggestions, you're more than welcome to submit them. Baby Zombie Rush, I consider a collaborative effort between the viewers and myself, and a number of you have contributed things in the past. Princess Nebula has. Draken has contributed a number of things, actually. So one of the things I wanted to develop was this countdown timer. That's one of the main steps, getting the countdown timer to activate and to perform the way that we want it to. And then there's really only two other major things, features that need to be developed. That's the launch and start area. And then we need some sort of exiting area somewhere along the map. I don't know where, but those are the remaining two features. And then we have enough features, I think, where we can actually launch the game. Invite our guest on. Our first guest, Kumakwa, has volunteered to be our very first guest. And so he'll have the very first test run of it. And then I'll be inviting on my fellow streamers and contestants and stuff to come on and run the maze. And there'll be slight changes for each person. Also, the development will not stop at that time. We will remove some features. We will replace them with other newer features. I want to keep changing things up in the game so each contestant doesn't know 100% what to expect. You'd have to do the countdown stuff yourself, since I don't know how to do that. Yeah, we've got a good... we've made excellent progress on the countdown timer. And so we're all set with that, Psych. In fact, if you look back on the past VODs, you'll see exactly how I did this. But you may also get an idea of how I'm doing it now, even though it's mostly developed right now. I may add a slice or two onto this to get the timing of it the way I want. Right now, the way that it works is I have items in a dispenser, and it takes a certain amount of time for those items to dispense. And once they do, the comparator detects that this is empty. It activates the piston, pushes the block, and lights the lamp. So the default state is these will all come on, and then as each one of the dispensers empty, the lamps will shut off one by one, right? And then you just change the number of items inside the dispenser, and it changes the time. And we worked out an equation over here. You know, that's really weird because I lost all of the writing on my signs, which is not good. That might be a 1.20.1 update thing. I'm not sure. But I've lost all of the writing on my signs. So all of the notes that I made for my equations and my timings and everything have all been erased. Not good. Not good at all. But I can rederive these. You know, it's a linear equation like y equals mx plus b with a slope and an intercept. It's not that hard to figure out. Seems to be a long day all around. Yes. I'm still pretty ill. I'm recovering. I've recovered probably about maybe 80, 90%. But I'm trying to get as much sleep as I can. So when I feel tired, and if I'm in a spot where schedule throughout the day where I can take a nap or something, I do. Yeah, I don't pass that up because normally my body just doesn't want to sleep. So right now the family's away. Our commitments are such that I don't have to really schedule things. I can do the things I need to do at any time. So if I feel, the least bit drowsy, I take advantage of that and I try to take a nap. So I needed an extra hour or two this morning. So I took it. So what's the reward for completing the run? Well, first of all, there'll be a leaderboard kind of deal. So there'll be bragging rights, definitely. But I may make some sort of reward, followers for your stream or subs, or I may make a reward where we have bits or subs or something like that. So that would be for the streamers, but I would really rather have a more generic kind of reward. Because some of the contestants aren't necessarily streamers. So it's an ever-changing design to keep things fresh. That's exactly right, Draken. To keep things fresh and to keep prospective contestants on their toes too. Because really all you would have to do is watch the design streams or watch a couple of runs, and then you can learn the maze and giving you an unfair advantage, right? So one of the things is you may know what to expect, but you may not know where or when to expect it. So those are two parameters that I can change right away. And then, like I said, just swapping out ideas one by one for each run. That's going to happen anyways because the implementation of some ideas may not go as smoothly as planned, or may not be as fun as we thought they were, right? And so they may wind up being way too easy to get through, or they may wind up being just so difficult it's just not fun, right? So things like that may wind up occurring too. So very fancy. You could add that sensor block to the last lamp to activate the command. That is my intention exactly. Nebs has found herself under the weather today. Oh, okay. Well, I hope she's feeling better soon. Who are all the players testing it out? Right now, the only commitment I have is from our fellow streamer, Kumakwa. He'll be the first one when it's ready. After that, it's just open. It'll be first come, first serve, and whoever can schedule to be on at whatever time. This will be built in the Generation Survival world afterwards, so it'll be a matter of logging on to the Generation Survival world and then making the run. That's going to be kind of difficult to do because as Mojang implements each update, I'll have to update the Baby Zombie Rush game. So because game mechanics and redstone and stuff may change. So You could build a bear gift card. I want to go to build a bear, so I need one going to win this just so I can do that. Okay. Yeah, we could do something like that. Like I said, I would prefer to have some sort of generic reward for players who are also not necessarily streamers, right? So, yeah, maybe some sort of gift card or something like that. But I would also like to be able to have the gift redeemable in such a way that the contestant doesn't necessarily have to dox themselves, so there's no personal information or something like that. So. When is it going to be released? I am avoiding any particular release date. All I'm going to say is soon. This open area feature is one feature that needs to be completed. This entry start feature is another one, and then some sort of exit feature, and then we're pretty much done. I have enough of the different kinds of features here, I think, where we can start to make runs. So I'm hoping by the end of the year, definitely. I'm hoping before that. Get Cyclops to build a bear. Vote for me for president. I am cooler. That I will admit, yes. Or I will concede, or I will support. Unfortunately, Cyclops, I don't think that you can be president because you have to be born in the U.S. And I don't think that you have been. So, Prime Minister, maybe. Baby Zombie Rush, UK. Okay. With that being said, let us get back over here. One of the challenges now is we have our pretty much the redstone worked out. The challenge now is we need to be able to make it fit into this wall somehow. So the idea is to build it down below. I do need to maintain this gap. This gap is very important because the baby zombies need to be able to see us at all times, so they'll track us throughout the maze. So if you juke the baby zombie around a corner and their vision, their line of sight is obstructed, they'll stop pursuing. So the idea is to maintain this gap so they can see you from, I believe it's up to 40 blocks away. No! Because then I'd have to move to London. Okay. So most of the redstone, the idea is to build it beneath and then have the output come up through the wall here while maintaining this gap. So you can see the wall is only 3 thick. Now, one of the things we can do is we can alter this wall to make these walls thicker. We can always do that. Although I do like the size of this open area. So this is what, a 15 by 15 area, I think. So I do like the size of that. That makes it just big enough where you can juke the baby zombies. As long as you don't stop, you can juke the baby zombies, but it does make it small enough where the turn is a bit of a challenge. So I really like the size of this. I think if it were smaller, it would be much deadlier. But the walls only being 3 blocks thick makes the redstone a lot more difficult. So there is that. So one of the challenges will be to try to redesign this in a more vertical fashion. So you can see where maybe we can maintain the gap right here in this sort of manner right here. And I think we can rearrange a lot of this to be vertical. So I think we should work on that for this stream. Right, so let's measure, let's see how much room we have. I believe that, let me see, these are 5, san, u, and then we have, yep. So we have 6 blocks high, like that. So let's do this, and then we need to have plenty of room underneath. So I'm thinking this will be enough room down below. There we go. We will bring it out to here. I think that'll be good. So just some updates. Kachi is still in Taiwan. He will be back not this Friday, but the Friday after, the first week of August. And right now I'm working on upgrades to Kachi's system while he's away. So Kachi's going to come back to a vastly upgraded system. You should add keys all around the map to end the map. The keys will make the door open at the end of the maze. That might not be an bad idea to have at least one key, but remember, Ape, as you're running through the maze, you're going to be pursued by a horde of about 10 baby zombies. I really don't think that the player is going to have time to stop and think things out. So it's not that kind of maze. So you do have to, you're going to be constantly having a horde of baby zombies at your heels. So the way things are going to happen will be you're running for your life. You come to an end here where you'll often find a button, and you'll press a button, and then either something beneficial will happen, something detrimental will happen, or maybe something kind of neutral will happen. All right, where something kind of neutral would be something that would benefit you, but would also not necessarily be a detriment to the baby zombies. Like a door will open and give you a shortcut, but the door is also open for the baby zombies. So it winds up being kind of a neutral thing, right? It just may buy you a few more seconds. So that's more the nature of the game. I think the pace is just too fast for something like a key or a puzzle or something like that. So it's not really a dungeon crawler kind of game. But that doesn't necessarily mean that some sort of key to let you out at the end isn't a completely inapplicable kind of idea. I'm trying to think of something like that. I think you should put that in the Discord. We might find out a way. We might figure out a decent way to use that. Check self promo on your Discord server, Cyclops Lops. So, one of the things I would like to mention, speaking of promotional things, is that Pleasant Playhouse and Cyclops Lops are both sponsoring a hide and seek league series event, which they're putting into place. I have done some of the announcer voiceovers for it, and it looks super, super cool. So it's Minecraft Hide and Seek League, where there'll be different kinds of maps. There'll be 2 teams. Some will be hiders, others will be seekers, and it'll be a bracket elimination round kind of thing. Correct me if I'm wrong on some of these things, but I believe it'll run for a few months, if I'm not mistaken. They'll be probably, about 12 weeks? So, okay. So you got enough people this round. All right. Because you guys were struggling to get folks at some point. You're too late. No. Oh, you would have been ideal for that. But I can't speak for Cyclopsalops and Pleasant Player, but if this is successful and they get enough participation on this, they may make another run of it. So, but those two are always promoting games and contests and events like this. They are incredible streamers in that right. All right, so let's get some Blackstone going here. Let me see. Our floor looks like that. So this comes up like this. And again, I'm just making a mock-up of the walls so we can try to implement this. Our wall structure. And notice the outer walls do not have a gap, right? Which makes sense. Okay, so we'd have the smooth stone here. We'd have a slab. And then 4 other stones above that. Now, these may not be the textures I end up using, but I don't want to make the textures too crazy because if they differ too much for different passages of the maze, then the runners will memorize them. So let's take a look at slabs. And polished Blackstone slab right there. We'll do that. Do something like this. 2, 3. 4. There we go. All right, and we should extend this outward by about this much. Let me see. This will be 3 thick, so it'll come out here. So let's extend it out by 4 on each side. By the way, for those of you who may be viewing this later, the VOD, and you've been living under a rock or something, Buffooncraft Season 5 is well underway. I've returned and logged on to the server, and I've begun my contributions to Buffooncraft Season 5. Season 5 features some fantastic lore this time around. And the buffoons are going all out on Buffooncraft Season 5. It's a lot of fun. So please check out those streams for myself and my fellow buffoons. You will not be disappointed. All right, so we'll make a mock-up of the wall area like this. And again, you know, we may have to make this wall section thicker. That won't be a problem. But I don't want to make it noticeably so, such that the player can immediately recognize that they're into the open area section of the map. Okay, that's good. All right, so let's take a look here. Wait, you didn't check the self-promo. Oh, okay. You want me to check it during the stream. Okay. Okay, let me just take a quick look at that. Wow, Discord is certainly taking its time opening right now. Here we are. And let's see what you have up here. So, Cyclops in self-promo has posted 2 fictional statistical analyses of his campaigns. If I ran for president in 2024, who would vote for me? And me, if I ran for parliament in next UK election, who would vote for me? And he has statistical maps with pie charts up and everything. It's and thank you for putting, for context, this is a joke. But as far as you winning or whatnot, if you decided to do this for reals, I don't think that's so much of a joke. But of course, again, you wouldn't be able to run for U.S. president. You'd have to be born here. But so if you guys would wish to know of what we speak, you can go into the Discord and you can check out the self-promo section. Let me see. What else am I looking at here? Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. One of the suggestions that Ape with a Thumb had posted is to add some music. We might be able to do that. Either music discs, right, where I do something pre-recorded, or we could do some Redstone music too. So there is that. And Redstone music, you know, is something I should be into. I should be doing, not just in Generations Baby Zombie Rush, but in Buffooncraft. I should be doing that. Yes, I should. So in addition to gameplay this year, we should be adding that in. Now, I was thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I was thinking of adding more slices to this. I was going with 12 or 20 because they're multiples of 120, which make that easier to divide up into 2 minutes, because I want the countdown timer to run for about 2 minutes. But I could put 15 in for the timer too. The idea is for the total amount of time, we're exceeding the capacity of one full dispenser. And so what does that mean? That means add more dispensers, right? So since 120 has a factor of 6 in it, you need something that has a factor of 2 and a factor of 3. All right, so 15 would be the next one up. Now 15 isn't an even number, it doesn't have a factor of 2, but 30 is. So we could get away with putting 15 in here. And that would cut down the amount of items we would have to put in any one particular dispenser, and so that would bring up the capacity of each dispenser. Right, and so we can fit 15 in here, so I think we should go with 15. If I remember correctly, we were having that problem the last time. Right. Right, and so that will give us the amount that we want. All right. Now, one of the things that we're going to need to do, excuse me, like I said, still a little bit ill. Let me see, we're going to need that. So already we're running into a bit of a problem. So you can see where the piston is going to cover up the gap. So already there are problems. Already there are problems. So ideally what we would need is for this to be in its off position down there. So you can see where this would, and I'm thinking maybe a double action piston might be able to do it. But then we would have to have redstone above this in order to get double action for a piston. I will spend $5 on my election campaign, says Cyclops Labs. I would legit win the U.S. presidential election because I'm cool like that. I wouldn't doubt it. They can make an exception. Has been known to happen. I mean, the laws of the presidency have changed on occasion. Like FDR, for example, had 4 terms. Just for me. I also won in France, by the way, because I'm cool. All right, so we need a way one of the other things we might be able to do is do something like this. Where it activates from above. And pushes down. But again, if that's the case, we're going to need, this would have to be wider than 3 in order to do that. I could run some redstone along the top of the wall. I could do that. Because that's not always visible from a player. It's one of the reasons why I made the wall 5 high. So I could run some redstone along the top, and the player wouldn't be able to see that. So there is that kind of a thing, too. I would really rather have it coming up from below. I think that's going to be easier. I mean, you could do something like that and then run some redstone along to activate it. What would we have here? But you can see how right away that starts to complicate things a lot. So I'm thinking right away that having this only 3 wide is going to be a problem. Yep. So I think the 5 block wide wall is going to be necessary. Just to be able to fit the redstone in. And again, you know, once I commit to a different kind of method like this, then I'll figure out the right way to do it, or one of you guys will point it out to me. Some folks' egos can't handle that. Mine can handle that just fine. I am a results-driven person. So results, that's all I care about. I don't care how we get there as long as we get there. So you can see now where this should help us quite a bit. And again, we can also do away with this underneath if this helps. Maybe it will. Because the player won't be able to see this from below. Of course, another idea is using the slab itself, too. And I like to have a little leeway on each side here. A little bit of the platform jutting out from each edge, so we can make some use of that. All right. That's pretty thick. So you can see where we're going to have to change the maze and update the maze, which is not that big of a deal. So instead of being 3 thick, it'll be 5 thick. I don't think that the player will readily recognize that as they're running through the maze. If you get back this far, you might be able to see that it's thicker. I mean, but there would be other ways too that they would notice it was thicker. But I really wish I had a better way of doing that. Okay, we could do something like that. And then maybe put the comparator right behind it. And comparator needs to output. Correction, needs to output into the piston like that. Then we would have the dispenser at that part. Now here's the thing, normally we have the redstone repeater going into this. So this is already getting very wide. So let me think. Now, I think this block down here would be insulated from that, but if it's not, we can always put a glass block there. But you can see where we're running out of room. One of the things can I do this? I might be able to do this. I might not need a redstone repeater for that. If it's coming out of the back of an observer, yes. But I could be doing this kind of a thing, right? get rid of this stuff here. Of course, that's one of the main challenges of redstone, is making it fit. Let's see. Let's do this. I'm going to try to leave this layer here for now. All right, so one of the things I'm thinking we can do the other thing we could do too is we could have the piston push the block over from here. That doesn't leave us a lot of vertical room though. I go lurk. See you in a bit. Gonna do some building for HSL. Awesome. It was a lot of fun doing the announcer voiceovers for Pleasant Player. So for each video, that'll be a video series that'll be produced for the Hide and Seek League. And you'll hear my voice opening the videos for each one. It's really cool. They came out a lot better than I thought they would. It's so funny to hear. Let's do this. So we have to shoehorn this redstone into this wall somehow. Of course, you know, there's thinking outside the box too. Blocks. Thinking outside the blocks. That's a good one. You could do something like you could just have these along the floor like this too. Excuse me. But, you know, things happen like that aren't really so cool. Like it blocks the baby zombies from seeing. You can see it from outside the maze. That's why I'm kind of reluctant to do things like that. I would ideally like to have something like this. But this is proving to be very challenging. I think it's also my limitations on redstone. Wow, I'm having trouble talking. My limitations on redstone. Lone Star! Excuse me. Lone Star, how are you doing? Fellow Buffoon Crafter this season, one of our new Buffoon recruits, Lone Star 82. Our sentinel for the server. How are you doing today, sir? Welcome on in. Now, this is weird. This might cause some circular issues with power and whatnot. Because in its parked position like this redstone block will be powering this block here next to it. Not a good thing. We might be able to insulate that with some glass. So I might have to use some glass here. And that should be a comparator. There would have to be some sort of hopper here to collect the drops. These wall units may even have to be wider than 5. I'm not certain. I know that I can switch this kind of observer activator here. I know I can switch that over to 90 degrees. I know I can do that easily enough. But from here across, no. No. So I know width-wise, I think the most I can minimize this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boy, that's a wide section of wall, people. That is a thick section of wall. I mean, I don't mind increasing the width to 5 blocks from 3, but exceeding 5 blocks, that's getting a little bit janky. Doing well. How are you? I'm doing okay. I'm recovering from my illness. I still got a ways to go. Hence the stream's starting an hour late. You can hear my voice. My sinuses are still a little congested, but we're getting there. We are getting there. We are at 202, so we're at the switchover point anyway, where I need to switch to standing mode. And also, you know what? I might do a be right back. In fact, I'm definitely going to do a be right back. I'm going to take a 5-minute break to replenish my drink, to clean up a little bit. So let's do that. And when I get back, we'll be into standing mode and we will resume our Baby Zombie Rush design. So let's switch over to the be right back scene and I will do that thing. And we are back. So, let's take a look. And let me switch back over to the display screen. There we go. So right now we're trying to optimize space and trying to get this stuff to work in the being incorporated into the wall unit here. So, and right now trying to recreate this in a vertical kind of way. Again, you know, it's kind of, you could think of, you know, turning your head 90 degrees and seeing this in the upward position. That's what I had envisioned. But in order to do that, I would have had to have something like that in place. Right? Now, we could do some real elaborate redstone here. I could have a double action piston here that pulls the slab down and out in underneath this way, and then a double action piston here set up that pushes the block upward. I could do something like that. That would be very, very complicated to do. I mean, I could do it, but those kinds of things tend to break. And so I'm thinking of some sort of setup like this, where the piston is activated here from above and drops down. The other option is to do something like this. And then work out some sort of vertical setup that way. Of course, you know, we could have something between the comparator output and the piston too. That's something that we can think about. Like, the comparator output doesn't necessarily have to be right there. But these are the options that we're fooling around, with which we are fooling around right now. For example, we could have the comparator up here on top of the wall. It won't be seen up there. But we could always do something like this with a dollop of redstone. You know, you could always do something like that. Now, the comparator needs to read the dispenser. Like this. So that would mean that the dispenser would have to be one higher, which would expose it as far as the player running along the wall would be able to see that up there. Maybe. We could do something like... bringing that down to there. Then maybe... trying to think of a way to... we could separate these two sections as well, so... Shut Mountain! Subscribed at Tier 1. They've subscribed for 9 months. Thank you so much, Shut. I did not see the alert go off for that. So, Shut, did you see the alert go off? Did it go off on your end, on the viewer end? Because that is working for the Buffooncraft stream. And it's working for the Kachi Time stream. It did not. Okay. So I have to fix that for Generations. All right. All right, yeah. Yeah, that needs to be added. There should be alerts on here. Right. Okay. I mean, I see the alerts overlay there, but I don't see it kicking on. Also, did I mean to have shield mode on? No, I did not. I would like to switch that off. Okay, I can click it off if you would like. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I don't need that on. Thank you, sir. Nice to have competent mods. Thank you. But I'll have to check out the alerts on that. But thank you so much for the sub. So let me see. Wednesday afternoon. You are probably on your way home from work right now, right? Again, you know, we need to separate out these two circuits here somehow. I need to have the output here, output from the comparator, and then between the comparator and the piston, I might be able to separate those two so I can turn it 90 degrees. But an efficient way to stack that is not occurring to me at the moment. It's too bad because I need this gap here. I need to maintain this gap. I mean, a cheaty way that I could do this would be to not have this open area in the center, and to have the countdown timer on an outside wall. I could do that. That would be a cheaty way to do it. But then I think potential contestants would catch on to that fact. Already they can see that where they have the gap here, and they can see here, oh, okay, this is an outside wall. I don't mind that so much because as you're panicking, fleeing through the maze, I like to be, you got to give the contestants some sort of chance, right? And so I don't mind doing that so much. And I'll do that here if I have to. I may put the open area on an outside wall. I may do that. I would like not to be able to do that, but I don't think that my redstone skill level is just smart enough to rotate this kind of setup 90 degrees without some very complicated piston action, which again, I know how to do that, but it's just that is a complicated chain of events that could break very easily, and I think I'd be constantly repairing that. You are welcome. Thank you, sir. So again, switching this over to 90 degrees. Not a simple task. So far, the only place that I think I can turn this 90 degrees is here at the observer way back here at the observer. That gives us, and we would still need an extra block here for the redstone. Well, maybe not. Maybe I could put a blob of redstone right on top of the observer. I could get away with that. So that I would still need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks wide. That's a lot. And then I would need an outside block to cover up the redstone. That would mean that this section of the wall would be 8 blocks wide. That's huge. I was really only hoping to extend the width of the wall area there from 3 blocks to 5. I mean, if I could have kept it 3 blocks, that would have been fantastic. This is one of those things that will occur to me off stream afterwards when it doesn't matter. I'm thinking, if it does at all. So this really needs to do that kind of a thing. If I was going to go horizontal with this part of the system, and you can see width-wise, it's just a killer. If I went vertical with that, it would have to do something like that. Again, I don't want to extend the height of the wall too much because, again, that's a little too obvious. If I took it up from below, it would have to do that kind of a thing. Which, actually, come on, space bar. Thank you. Would have to do no, I was right the first time. Space bar, do your thing. Yeah, would be there in its retracted position. And then when it's extended, it would push the block up, right? So it would do... that kind of a thing, right? But this is what we would see from below. That would be in its activated position, which I guess would be... yeah, see, not ideal. And this is what it would look like in its packed position, and it would block the gap. Again, you know, you could have a double piston extender kind of thing here. But then I think the block of redstone would show. So this is actually pretty difficult to design. Unless I came up with a better, you know, this is very mechanical and very crude. So if I came up with a much better way, maybe I need a better circuit. And I need a better circuit with some quasi-connectivity here so I can maintain this gap. Again, the gap makes this really, really challenging. If I didn't need the gap, this would be a lot better. Or a lot easier, I would say. But I need to maintain the gap so any baby zombies outside can see. So it's really not so much for the open area in the middle, but it's for the maze. If baby zombies are in pursuit of me, the moment I round a corner and I break their line of sight, they'll stop pursuing. So you need the gap so they can see you throughout the maze, so they'll continue to pursue. And then I would like to maintain the gap for the open area just for consistency. So so it doesn't give too much away to the player. I should be in standing mode, by the way. There we go. So I'm at a bit of an impasse right now. Trying to think of a better way to... By the way, you know, I'm not just being stubborn here. You know, if there were a countdown clock video tutorial that somebody put out, like Mumbo or somebody like that, I would definitely use that. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not so prideful in that, you know, I refuse to use other people's designs. I would bite the bullet. I would try to figure out something myself first, but if I was wasting too much time on this, I would definitely go with somebody else's design. But there isn't anything out there. I've searched and searched and searched, and I haven't seen anything that operates quite like this. So this is one of those things that we're going to have to pioneer on our own, which is kind of cool in a way, but also takes up a lot of time. You know, I may have to do the exterior wall thing on this too. There just may be no other way around this. I mean, exterior wall would definitely work. So if we have no other options at all, then we'll resort to that. We'll just have to. But right now, I can't see a way to convert this into a vertical kind of system while maintaining that gap. I would need a double action piston that would pull the slab out of the way and then push the redstone block up from behind, or drop it down from above, or push it across. Pushing it across or dropping it down from above is preferable than bringing up from the bottom. Again, you know, if I could transmit a signal, a quasi-connectivity, quasi-connection signal through the slab and up to the next one, that would be cool. That would help us out a lot. Like, for example, excuse me. The thing is, I would have to change the state of this slab in order for that to see it. That would not be easy to do. See, powering that slab doesn't help us out. See, it doesn't change it doesn't update that block. One of the other things is that we can do is we don't really need these central blocks so much, right? I mean, if we're out here, you can see them a little bit, but if I did something like that, for example, I think that would be enough. You can still see them, though. You can still see a gap. But how to update the status, make the status of that slab change? And it has to be this entire block, because the slab, even though it has a gap in between it, I mean, it's not as simple as doing something like torch. Thunder, torch. There we go. Torch. And let's keep this up here so we can see the status of it change. Like if I break that block, there we go, see? Okay, so changing the status of that block definitely... What happened to my torch? Fuck. So breaking and placing updates that, but just powering it doesn't. There, see? So getting this to update in such a way where that will see it. One of the things we might be able to do is pull it down. Which wouldn't be that big of a deal, really. I wouldn't mind that so much. I'm looking for a lever. I guess not. Let's drop this right here so we can do quick select. Then you can see where... Right? So you can see where just temporarily pulling it down like that we'll update it. So that would be a way that we could... Yeah, that would be a way that we could get away with doing that. Again, now the challenge for that would be see, but the problem with this is that it doesn't... It wouldn't keep it continuously on. It would just give us just a single pulse, and that wouldn't be enough. Actually, I can hear somebody at the front door, so I'm going to do another quick be right back. Okay, and we're back. Sorry about that, but when packages get delivered to the front door, I have to go get them right away. Porch pirates. So far, we haven't lost anything yet, but we have had our mailbox broken into, though. They didn't get anything, but I have the camera and the Ring alert and everything right on the front door. All the security cams are on the property. So when I see a delivery, I got to go right out there and get it. Otherwise, it'll be gone. Okay, so this is where we were at, where I was thinking something like this. But then again, like I said, we're just going to wind up with a pulse to activate this and off of an observer. And that's the problem with the observer, is it doesn't offer us a steady kind of a pulse. So I mean, that's the whole point of having the dispenser. So trying to have some sort of quasi-connection gap between these two doesn't really help us out that much. All I can think of is turning it 90 degrees from here. Right. So this would have to be in the back. But see, width-wise, you need this much room. That's a lot. That is a lot. Again, the dispenser doesn't necessarily have to point downward. It can point across like that. And we could have... can I place the comparator above the gap? I don't think so. Like if I did something like that, the moment I take that block out, the comparator is going to break. It won't float, in other words. Yeah, see, something like... See, that doesn't help me. So this is real challenging. I mean, the countdown timer thing, the redstone isn't difficult. It's trying to now place it in this wall like this is hard to do. Again, I could configure the timer in such a way that it's in a different sort of spot. I don't have to have the timer in the wall like this. I could put the timer across the floor like that. That would be an easier way with which to deal with it, but I don't like that. I want it like this. But I don't know. I think I'm just asking a little bit too much of my limited redstone abilities here. Again, dropping it down from above, I think, is going to wind up being the best configuration. Now again, we can break it here. If we do it right, we can break it there. But we just have to, again, do some sort of quasi-connectivity there. So we'd have to get a signal from below up through here. Like, again, you know, I'm reluctant to put the dispenser in this area. Again, that would have to be glass over there. Let me get a glass block so I don't have to select every time. Or I don't have to look it up every time. I can just do a quick select right over here. There we go. And again, I'm hoping that the glass will insulate against anything that's on this side from the redstone. Now, we could put that like that. And again, you know, the output for the comparator doesn't necessarily have to be downward. It could be outward like that. Now, here's a problem. We could have, for example, we could have the observer doing that kind of a thing. But here's the deal. Now, this has to be able to... There's two problems. I need a repeater between the observer and the dispenser. Which means doing something like... Hello, observer. Yeah, this is going to be tough. And see, this is already too high up. Come on. Come on, spacebar. It's just this setup is just way too wide. What if I could get away with doing something like this? Comparator isn't going to read that, though. But I was thinking... Yeah, that's going to be too problematic. I was thinking on having the output of the comparator right there into this block and then bringing something over the top to the piston, but it would be better if I were doing that. I would just flip it around. So that does not wind up helping me. So again, dropping it down from above, not easy. Not easy. Bringing it up from the bottom, not easy. Bringing it in from the side, not easy. Let's build the wall way too wide. There's some alliteration for you. Let's just do that. Then maybe something will occur to us. Wow, my middle mouse button selection thing is acting up. So I'm thinking here. I might be able to get away with doing something like that. And either an observer gets pushed up from below or it gets pushed over from the side. Like that. And then we have the main circuit here, which gets activated by that clock. And so the only thing that gets put down below the level is the clock. Not cool. But so far, this is the only way that I can see fitting all of this into the wall. Effectively making the wall, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks. You know what would be cool is if I could do something down here with skulk sensors. Because, you know, now you're activating things across gaps. So that might be something to consider as well. Like, since the player is this tall, we can see the slabs, but we don't necessarily see these. Right? From either side. I don't necessarily see it from that side. I don't see the gap necessarily from this side either. So these blocks do not have to be here. The slabs do. But these are pretty much invisible. So these do not have to be here. This is a real head scratcher, this one. So for example, I might be able to lower this entire portion here. Not quite sure that that helps me, but like, for example, this could now be moved here. Maybe not, because then I would need something there, right? I could do something like that. So this slides up, contacts this, brings this over, drops that down. I could do something like that. One thing that's going to cause a problem, though, is this. We would need the output. This can't output sideways, so that's not going to work. So we may have to do something like that, where we would have a dollop of redstone here and a dollop of redstone there. Yeah, it might have to do that kind of thing. And then somehow we would have to be able to activate this piston from below with this kind of a deal crossing the gap. So I would need to be able to transmit power from here up to there while maintaining that slab. Not easy. Not an easy task. Not an easy task. One of the things I might be able to do would be to do something like... yeah, I can't slide that over that way because that would mean I'd have to put the piston there. And we need the dispenser to be able to drop so we can collect. Yeah, so bringing this up from the bottom, I think, is the best way to go, like we had it. I think that's really the only thing that we can do. And then we need some sort of quasi-connectivity from here to here. Now, we were able to do that with observers. We had an observer output. Facing down, but it's one block too high now. For example, I could do something like this. I could do that. I could do this kind of a thing. And I could have a piston just pull that down to activate it. But it seems like I'm putting in redundant processes, sub-processes in here. Of course, then there's the whole part of the circuit too that needs to light up everything in its default state. That we didn't count on. Boy, this countdown timer is really hard to do. There's got to be a better way. Again, making the countdown timer isn't that bad. It's incorporating it into the wall structure that's hard to do. And again, this actually has to work in the opposite fashion. When the player comes into the room, it has to activate these. These in their default position have to be all on, and then it needs to pull them away one by one. That's what I would like to have happen. But I mean, they can be all in an off state and then flick on one by one, but that doesn't feel like a countdown. That's like a count up. I like them all switching off one by one. So that would mean some torch work in here, right? So that adds an extra component now. And we're already cramped for space. So for example, the default state of this has to be on. Just broke my sign with my notes that had vanished. But the note that I wanted to make of this is on this timer, that has to be a spot, not a line. Nova taught me that. Got to remember that. I mean, ideally, I would like to do something like that. And then like that. And then this block shuts off and it pulls that up. So after the timer has done its thing, that torch goes off and pulls that up. And then the next one, that torch goes off and pulls that one up. So we could either have it in that configuration or, again, you know, you can go horizontally with it. Something like this. Something like that. And you could either do this from below, like this. Right, so default is on like that, and then we need this block to shut off when it's done. But we need to keep that slab there. Let me see. We're at 3:07. We're actually past time to end the stream. We're going 1 to 3 today. We're at our 2-hour limit. And I was really hoping that we could make some progress in this. But at least we've identified a number of problems. Right? Changing this over from here to and actually implementing this is a lot harder than I thought. We may have to just go with the outside wall configuration so we can fit all of this stuff in. The outside wall would also have the benefit of not having the gap, so there would be that too. So I'm going to let my brain cook on this for a little while and see if I can come up with something over the next couple of days for this. And if not, we'll just use the outside wall option for this. Again, you can see Now we can change the location around the outside wall. That's not a big deal, but you can see the outside wall doesn't need to have the gap, right? And so we can arrange this somewhere along the outside wall where the timer is on the outside wall side of this. And then we can just move it around the maze as we see fit, right? So we can get away with that. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit more complicated too, because we need to have the default state being on and then these retracting one by one. So I don't know if that's as simple as putting these in these comparators in subtract mode. Like this. And so when this is full, it's on. And then when the dispenser is empty, it's off. So it's probably just easier. I don't need the torches. I can just probably put the comparators in subtract mode, right? So there's that as well. So, and these can be on in their default state, so I don't need to have the added extra step of when the participant enters into the arena, these automatically turn on and then start ticking down. I mean, that would be kind of cool, but I don't think we need that. We can have all of these on, and then the moment that they come in, this activates the circuit, and then these start counting down. We can have that. I think that's good enough. I think it would be a lot cooler to have those flick on, though, and then start turning off one by one. But I just don't think I have the redstone powers to be able to implement that. I think eventually I could figure it out, but we would be like another 2 years before we put this in. And again, there's nothing like this on YouTube. No one has any kind of tutorial for this kind of countdown clock that does this kind of a thing. No one has this. No one does. So we're breaking new ground with this. We're paving the way. So I don't know. Maybe I should make a tutorial video after I get this down. Sounds a little presumptuous, I know, but unless someone comes along with a suggestion and wants to show me a better way to do it, hey, I'm all ears, man. I'll definitely do that. I'm a results-driven person, so I only care about results. Okay, with that being said, let's wrap up the stream here. Let's see if there's anybody out to whom we can raid. Yeah, we have a number of people. In fact, Flying Villager is doing Railroads Online right now. Fellow Buffoon Crafter, Flying Villager. So we will raid out to him at this point. So let's get the raid message up there. There's our raid message. You can copy and paste that into the stream, into the chat if you wish to join us. And as always, I highly encourage you to, at the very least, if you don't have time to stay for the entire stream, drop in at least and say hi. And if you feel so inclined, a follow or a sub would be really, really cool. Let me see. Let's get the raid going here. And there we go. The raid is counting down. Sometimes, so for family-friendly viewers who may be lurking, sometimes there's a little bit of mature language, but I think actually flying is pretty good with that. Actually, pretty consistent with that. But it is rated for mature audiences, so I just want to give you guys a heads up on that. And let me see. We do this generation stream usually from noon to 2 every Wednesday Pacific Standard Time. The next stream will be Friday. That should be 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That'll be for Buffooncraft Season 5. I tried to talk. Buffooncraft Season 5. Very, very cool things happening in Buffooncraft. So make certain that you'll drop by for that. The next stream after that will be Sunday 4 to 6. That's usually Kachi time, but Kachi is in Taiwan still. He won't be back until the following Friday. So this Sunday's Kachi time stream will sub in another Buffooncraft stream at that point. Laters, dude. Thank you so much, everybody, for dropping by. Shut, thank you for the sub. Really appreciate that. And let us raid out to Flying Villager. Bye for now, everyone.